What a day on Sunday. MLS Cup was a fantastic spectacle. Houston with a 2-1 win for the repeat. But Shep, what time is it now?
Greg, I don't wear a watch. I don't know what time it is.
Don't worry about it. My new girlfriends from Section 107 know exactly what time it is.
Extra time!
Greetings, everybody. Welcome to MLSnet.com's Extra Time. I'm your host, Greg Lawless, alongside Shep Messing, as always. And the season has come to a close with a resounding victory, I think, for the Houston Dynamo. Shep, it really was something at MLS Cup on Sunday.
Greg, it was a great game, but you were down there on the field. Tell me about the ambiance. Tell me about the crowd.
Well, let me tell you, from start to finish, the day was fantastic. I got to meet some of the fans before the game and interview a little bit of them, find out what they think going into the game.
We're standing in the smoky confines of the New England Revolution fans, and I'm sitting next to Monty Rodriguez, the emotional, spiritual, sometimes intellectual leader of the Revolution's Midnight Riders. Monty, it's a big day for the boys. It's their third time back. How are they going to do?
I can't stand a loss, so it's got to be a win.
Well, you got a huge crowd here today, right? They're going to be screaming and making all kinds of noise. How many guys do you have coming down?
Out of the Midnight Riders, I think about 70% of them are here, so 300 riders here. I think we've got about 2,000 Revs fans, I hope, at least. This is going to be fun.
There's Monty Rodriguez, the president of the Midnight Riders, here at RFK. Make some noise! You guys make noise? No. So this would be a good interview, right? So who's going to win this game? Couple of the originals from the Army, back when you guys, at 20 guys now?
20.
And look how far you've come.
500, baby.
500 members. So, all right, break down the game for me. What's going to happen?
I say Houston over the Revs 2-0.
Very, very succinct, very analytical, very good. How do you think your fans are going to do against their fans? They have a big crowd. They're a little closer this year than last year.
They may be closer to home, but Houston's a good traveling team. We follow our team. We're known for traveling with our team. That's right. I think that we're going to sing and they're going to hear us, and we're not going to hear them.
Where are you guys sitting?
We're in, I don't know, 234.
234. And do you guys have a theme song? What's your favorite theme song for the Texan Army and Houston Dynamo? Dolly Dynamo. Do it.
Dolly, 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 Dynamo! Dolly, 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 Dynamo! Dolly, Dynamo!
A great scene in the parking lots of RFK. I want to thank everyone who talked to me from the Texian Army and from the Midnight Riders and everyone else who was out there. Now, Shep, let's get to the game, right? Coming into this game, the Revolution, coming into their third MLS Cup, a lot of pressure on them to finally bring one home. Houston, defending champs, they'd been there before. Rematch of the 2006 game. New England comes out pretty well in the first half, actually. They start to dominate in the first half. They do well. They get a goal about 30 minutes in from Taylor Twellman. What's going through their mind then?
Greg, they surprised me, New England, in the first half. We talked about this game in terms of strategy. Houston, high back four, more wide open attacking play. New England had not given up a single goal against them in the playoffs. Right. More conservative, but I thought New England really dominated. World-class goal. I think what had to be going through their minds was unbelievable start, but we need to get that second goal.
Yeah, they really did need to get that second goal because Houston's defense was playing very well. The Revolution attack is not that dynamic. They really needed to get something. Steve Ralston, I thought, had a terrific 45 minutes, and he was all over the place finding space. They had a decent chance from Taylor Twellman to get the second one, but it didn't come. So all of a sudden, you're entering halftime, you're up 1-0. Revolution probably felt pretty good.
I think they did. I would think if you're New England at halftime of that game, not only did they have the lead 1-0, but they, I thought, had dominated in the latter part of the first half. So Stevie Nicol, Paul Mariner, they had to be telling those guys in the locker room, you've got to find a way to manufacture, you've got to go create it. We need the next goal.
Yeah, well, that's actually one of the problems, I think, with the Revolution, ultimately, because it didn't work. Houston, on the other hand, goes into that halftime, and they're thinking, actually, Dominic Kinnear in the press conference said, you know what? just pick it up a little bit. You're going to be fine. There was a confidence when they came out of that halftime. Even though Pat Noonan got the first chance for the Revolution, didn't put it away right after halftime, right? Houston looked much better.
Greg, it was a great game, and you could almost anticipate that in the second half. That's a Houston team that showed their defending champions. Dominic Kinnear switched at halftime from 4 in the back to 3 in the back, put 5 in the midfield, confident they can go at New England and get the equalizer.
Yeah, and Joseph Nguyen ends up getting that equalizer, and it was kind of a mixed-up goal. He missed the first chance, and that put Matt Reis out of the way. Now, do you think Matt Reis could have made that save?
Look, you're never going to blame Matt Reis for that. It was a scramble in a 6-yard box. I would have preferred to see Matt Reis come out further, try and attack Nguyen rather than to dive laterally. But it's a scramble. It's a good goal. More importantly, as soon as that goal is scored, I thought I saw New England with their shoulders sag, their attitude suffer.
Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, I think their attitude was certainly, oh no, not again. And all of a sudden, Houston comes back, and Dwayne de Rosario, who ended up probably being the best player on the field all day long, won the MVP, scores a great goal with that header.
I think this was a game with 2 significant factors. The inability for New England with a lead to get that second goal, and then de Rosario. I mean, big players do great things in big games, and you can almost feel it. The tension, the drama, that's about as good a goal as you'll ever see, that driven header by de Rosario.
And then Pat Onstad with a last-minute save, and the game was over. Houston repeat champions for the first time in the league since 96-97 with DC United. Now, let's look forward for these two clubs. I mean, you have everybody saying that maybe New England's going to be the Buffalo Bills of MLS, that kind of thing. They've lost 4 MLS Cups in the last 6 years. What's the legacy of this team, and where do they go from here?
Yeah, I think every other team in the league would aspire to do what New England has done. I don't buy the 4, the loss, get to the title game. That's a model franchise. Do they need to tweak it? Do they need a new player? I don't think they ever replaced. I mean, you and I were talking about it. They never replaced Clint Dempsey in the lineup. So they need another playmaker, a game decider. They never replaced him.
Yeah, that's true. I call those players alchemists, the guys who can create something out of nothing. And they didn't do that. And Dwayne de Rosario, the alchemist for Houston Dynamo, he creates something for them. Now, is Houston a dynasty? This is a core group that has now won, what, 3 or 4 MLS Cups with San Jose Earthquakes and now with Houston Dynamo. Do we have a dynasty on our hands?
Yeah, I don't think there's any question that we have a dynasty. Those core players, and remember, they played in this game without one of their all-stars, Ricardo Clark.
And Brian Ching.
And Brian Ching, you're right, I forgot. Right. So, I mean, this is a wealth of talent, a deep team, core quality players at the key positions. So,
make a prediction. Do they win it again next year?
Ooh. Greg, we got to get into the show next year. I can't do that yet. We got to see what happens in the offseason. Expansion draft, players come, go, contracts, we'll see.
Well, they're still a great team, and you never know, these two teams might make it back. Well, we're joined right now by MLS Cup 2007 MVP, Dwayne de Rosario of the Houston Dynamo. Dwayne, welcome to the show.
Thanks a lot for having me, gentlemen.
Well, Dwayne, I'm very curious because you guys have all so much experience coming into this game. You'd seen the Revolution before. First half, you guys looked a little tentative out there, and you went down 1-0. What was going through your mind at that point?
I think the way we approached the game in the first half, not really the way we approach games. I thought we went in there maybe a little bit too complacent against a side that was very hungry and ready to prove and dictate the pace of the game from early, which we wanted to do. Smith did a good job on the left side of attacking and getting forward, and that started to push us back a little bit. And the midfield did a great job. I thought Charlie Jost did a great job of spraying the ball around, and Ralston's movement throughout the midfield. They were getting a lot more. They were seeing a lot more of the ball than we were, and we weren't really penetrating through the midfield. So we started to get wide, in particular, me and myself started to get wide in the first half to try to create more space because I thought it was very clogged up in the midfield, and we weren't really getting balls through the middle. It was going from the defense to the forward, and I thought Parkhurst was doing a great job, and John was doing a great job of limiting our forward touches on the ball, and when they were getting touches, it was in more deeper in the midfield. So I thought New England did a great job to start the game off, and then second half, of course, Tallman with another great goal, and then the second half was basically, we came out the way we should have came out in the first half, which was dictating the pace of the game, pushing forward, and I think that had a lot to do with us moving to a 3-5-2.
Yeah, Dwayne, talk about that. Your coach gets into the locker room, you're down a goal, he switches 4 out of the back, pushes another into the midfield. Tell us what that does to you positionally, and then talk to us about the Nguyen goal and your great goal that won the game.
Sure. We made that adjustment to 3-5-2 to match up with them to limit the freedom that New England was having in the first half. I thought Charlie Joseph was getting the ball, being able to get his head up and play passes through and get us disorganized. And Lightwitz and Ralston was doing a great job with their movement off the ball and kept me and Richard basically in the middle, always on our toes. Every time Richard had someone, whether it was Ralston or Lightwitz, I had Ralston and Charlie Joseph was the man that was open and basically dictating the pace of the game, which he does so well. And in the second half, when we went to a 3-5-2, we were able to match up a lot better, giving me the opportunity, the chance to push forward, and having Charlie Joseph having to look over his shoulder to worry a little bit more about me. And I think when we did that, Charlie Joseph was pretty much quiet for the rest of the game. Second half, he didn't really do his penetrating passes or penetrating runs that he was doing in the first half. So we really limited their freedom in the midfield, and we started to push them back on their heels. Of course, we were trying to fight to get back into it, and Mullen played a great ball across. It found its way in the back post to myself. I saw Nate and Joseph in the middle, and I just, played it in the 6-yard box, and hopefully, someone get their head on it or something. And thankfully, Joseph, I thought his first attempt he was going to roof in the back of the net, but he kind of missed it, and got back up and scrambled for the ball, and thankfully went under Matt Reese's body into the goal. And I think that was a huge goal for him and our team, because that was just a determination goal. For him to fall down and get back up and to continue to kick that ball in the net was we really needed that at that point.
Well, Dwayne, tell me a little bit about your goal itself. There was so much. You're a big team guy, but you are probably the most successful individual player in MLS history, actually, when you compare all these other great players and playmakers. What a great goal you scored.
Yeah, thank you very much. I mean, I don't really score goals in my head.
Yeah, I know, you never do.
A game, it would come off my foot and then hit my head. But, but I guess, in those games, it's just instincts, and maybe I'm not in the position a lot of times to score in my head, but I was just thankful that Brad played a great ball, and I just instinctively just hit it with my head, and I was in a position where I could use my head for once, and I'm just thankful that it went in the back of the net.
Well, we'd like to thank you for coming on to Extra Time this week.
No, thank you for having me, and hopefully we could be the first team to do a three-peat, and I'm looking forward to the challenge next year, and I know the rest of my teammates are as well.
Well, great. Congratulations. MLS Cup MVP Dwayne de Rosario from the Houston Dynamo.
Dwayne, thanks a lot, pal. Congrats.
The 2007 MLS season is in the books. The Cup has been won by Houston Dynamo. It's been, in my opinion, probably the best season in MLS history.
Greg, I'd make the argument this has been the best show, and it's been the best season in Major League Soccer. The addition of the superstars, the designated players, the Beckhams, the Blancos, the Scalota, Juan Pablo Angel, it's been a spectacular year.
And new teams coming in. And before all that happens next year, though, there is still the off-season. Shep and I will be here every week with Extra Time, looking at all the things going on, from the expansion draft to the super draft to Clint Mathis being traded to Los Angeles.
We're going to stay on top of it. What in the world is your brother thinking out there?
Well, I'm not really sure, but we'll be here every week to give you everything you need about it. We'll be here next week with our special edition of the ETs, so join us then and we will kick it around.